Well, hello there. Happy Valentine's Day. Sarah and I haven't really bought into it this year. We just got a couple of cars, but no point buying stupid little gifts anymore. We're all grown-ups now. And to be quite honest, she doesn't need any more cuddly toys, and I don't need any more smelly aftershaves or whatever. Anyway, I've been out this morning. First of all, I went to the hospital to have a look at my foot, and so that's fixed. My big toe's sorted now with the big blister that I had on there. Yesterday, I actually got to see a doctor. Well, it's actually the practice nurse for my new patient review. And one of the questions that she asked me was, do I drink alcohol? And so I then had to explain to her that I have a deficiency. My body doesn't produce its own alcohol, so I have to take supplements. I have to take a gin and tonic here and a gin and tonic there, just to keep the levels normal. Anyway, so tonight, I hope you're going to do something with your loved one. If you can't be with your loved one, well, I hope you can have a telephone conversation with them. Anyway, Sarah and I are going to go for our meal again. We're going to the Blacksmith's Arms, where we normally go. They do a decent beer there, so we quite like it in there. I think we've been through the menu now, so hopefully they'll have something new on the menu. We'll always look at the specials that they have on, so we'll see what it's like. Sarah does like her fish, so I hope she has something fishy for her tea. I might have the beef lasagna. That's always quite tasty, isn't it? But they do such big portions. That's the trouble. Wow. Yeah, tell us what you're going to be doing tonight on Valentine's Day. Yeah, I've got another. I've got another week. I've got this weekend, next weekend, and I'll go back on the Monday after that. So I've got just over a week and 3 days before I go back to see. Not looking forward to it, but what can you do? You've got to earn some pennies, haven't you? What else? Oh yeah, I just love my new car. Absolutely fantastic. Driving the hybrid has been, well, an experience to say the least. A very steep learning curve about all the technology inside it, and I've actually started now really to get used to it. Part of the regenerative braking that it had would, when you lift your foot off the accelerator, it would automatically apply a generative force to the wheels, so that it would slow you down. A little bit like using the brake. Not a great deal. It would slow you down eventually, but you don't actually come to a complete stop. You get to a point where you start to coast, or you just go under engine power. But yeah, I've started to learn now how better to control my regenerative braking. I know now that when I want to coast, I can use the flappy paddles to change the regenerative braking force. If I want to coast a bit more than normal, then I'll reduce the braking effect. But otherwise, it's absolutely fantastic. I've got today's little drive out. I actually got 58 miles to the gallon. Can you believe it? 58 miles to the gallon. And the best I could get in my old car was 24 to the gallon. And so I was quite happy with that. On the way home, because it's slightly uphill, I suppose, I've got 48 miles to the gallon on the way home. So that's quite, well, for me, that's quite a saving, really, to see the fuel gauge go down so slowly compared to what it was like before. But yeah, I don't really miss my old car. There was a few things on there that I used to enjoy, some of the features that I used to enjoy, especially if I had a long journey. Although I'd have my sat nav in the window, I would also have on the sat nav for the car, I had their rather outdated version of their sat nav. So what I used to have is a picture of the UK shrink down to so that the top and bottom was my view of where I was going, so I could see roughly where I was on the UK. On the, you know, if you see what I mean, if you're looking at the map, you can see where I was and how much further I had to go. But on this new car, oh man, it's so comfortable. I can do 100 miles and I don't feel it. So it's such a comfortable car to drive. I'm really, really glad I bit the bullet and decided to go for it when I did. You know, of course we've got the new tax hike coming in April. Looking forward to that. No, my car won't be road taxed until I think August. So I'll have a few months grace before I pay the new rate of car tax. Yeah, not looking forward to that. Ooh, just kick the camera. Yeah, so I've been out. Oh, we better say now before I get too late into it. Like I normally do, when I get past 8 minutes on these talkies, I don't include the midterm adverts. I deliberately take those out. I didn't know I could do that until relatively recently, I suppose. Yeah, so yeah, I went out. Where did I go? I went to Mappleton, and the stories of the car park being washed away were completely over exaggerated. It hasn't been completely washed away. It's the same as it was when I was there last year when I went with Sarah. But yeah, the car park's still there. There's a few small places to park your car, but yes, it does need some sea defences. And if any of you have watched my channel from before, when I was on a barge, well, I wasn't on the barge itself, I was on a tugboat escorting the barge into the shore, and we would deposit large rocks and boulders so that the waves wouldn't wash the cliff face away at Withensea. But they need to do the same thing at Mappleton. They need to start doing that, but there's no taxpayers there. That's the trouble. If we had lots of people paying council tax in that particular area, the councils would be doing a lot more to ensure their future safety from the sea, the erosion of the sea. As you know, it's I don't know if you're aware, but the UK, you imagine this is Newcastle right in the middle here. This end is Scotland, and this end is the south coast. And what's happened is, when Scotland was covered in a layer of ice, Scotland sank into the mantle, meaning that the south coast went up and Scotland went down. Of course, now the ice has melted. Over the centuries, the south coast is slowly coming lower and lower, and Scotland is slowly coming up. But the pivot point is Newcastle. So we are slightly south of Newcastle, so we are slinking slowly back into the Earth's crust, as it were. It's a bit like a log on the ocean. You know, if you put a lot of weight at one end, the other end's going to come up, and that's exactly how large land masses work on the Earth's crust. It's a bit like a log at sea. Anyway, what other news have we got? Oh, the government's getting worse and worse. They're talking about getting rid of Netflix, they're talking about including Netflix in the BBC TV license. That's what I meant to say. That's what's happening there. So that means going to give up Netflix and Disney Plus and all that kind of stuff. And I suppose the next step would be to have YouTube covered under the BBC TV license. So that would be a completely bad thing to do. What other news? Oh yeah, there's Rachel Reeves she wasn't really an economist, was she? No, she was actually more likely to be a tea lady for the complaints department. And it's now turning out that she lied again on her CV. She wasn't working for HBOS for very long. Certainly not as long as she claimed to have been working there. And now, of course, it feels that Rachel Reeves has been dipping her hands in other people's pockets. Now imagine that, a Labour political person putting their hands in other people's pockets. Well, I never. Well, it seems like she's been done for fraud, apparently. That's what I've heard. Not very good, is it, for one of our leading politicians? Yeah. She got caught buying gifts with her HBOS Works credit card. Yeah, not funny. If she can't be held responsible for money, what's she doing being Chancellor of the Exchequer? I don't know. But yeah, it's the government's getting worse. Worse and worse and worse. It's every day there's some news that comes up that just makes me shudder to think of these people in power. How the hell are they there? And they remind me of what they call post turtles. There's a story goes out there about a man who sees a turtle on top of a very tall post, and the basic of it is that the turtle has got no idea how he got there, but he certainly knows he shouldn't be there. And that's the same with Ed Miliband as well. And what was it? What the hell was it that she said? Ginger Growler. She said something on a TV interview, or was it a radio? Anyway, whatever, some interview. She said, "Do you think that Sir Keir Starmer is a good leader?" And she just smirked and didn't answer the question. So yes, he's obviously not a good leader, is he? But yeah, I wouldn't have anything to do with him personally. Oh, it's getting cold. I'm going to have to go back in. Anyway, so, oh, blimey, I've gone over 11 minutes. So, I'll just say, happy Valentine's. Have a great evening tonight. Just remember that if you have to take supplements, it's not because it's your fault. Okay. Anyway, I'll catch you later. See you then.